I was having a conversation with my father through a phone call, and we were just having a normal conversation, just trying to find how each and everyone is doing. And for some time, we had a conversation, just usual conversation which you can have with someone who you are close with, and more especially a parent. And then, not from nowhere, but it then went ahead and asked me, "How about a fuel?" And I was like, this fuel has been 107 shillings since there was that Iran war and the country decided to raise some prices. So that's the price which I expect. And then it was like, no, it is 214 shillings for every liter. And then diesel went up to 240 shillings for every liter. I somehow downplayed the kind of the seriousness of that issue because I somehow thought life is challenging and there's nothing which I can do about it. So we need to find some manner or way in which you are going to actually deal with that situation. So I said it's okay. So and as usual, the old man went ahead and encouraged me, inspired me, and said, just keep fighting, things are the same everywhere, but you need to show up each and every day. So why have I decided to give you that kind of a story? So it was on a weekend. Normally I don't live on weekends as such. So and there's one thing which I normally do each and every day, more especially if I have left for work. I normally refill each and every evening. So today is on a Sunday. I decided to go and pick some parcel, and after which I should go out. I went before even going to pick the parcel. I went no, I went to pick the parcel and then decided to go. No, I went before I went to pick the parcel. I decided to go and do some refill. Then I went to the petrol station. I gave out the normal amount which I normally refill, that is 400 shillings. I do normally 400, 450, or 500 sometimes. More especially 500 is when the fuel shortage started to come into play. That's now when I decided most of the time I will go and refill 500 shillings because there is some which is going to remain throughout the day. So I went to the petrol station, handed over 400 shillings, and then keenly, somehow, instinctively, I decided to observe where they normally count the number of liters and also the amount in terms of cash. Then I realized that it was 1.85 liters. And I was like, what? Because initially I used to give out 400 shillings and I used to have around 2 point something liters because for every liter it used to go a petrol of 1 liter used to go for 178 shillings if I'm not wrong. And then they decided to move to 214. Then when the government was threatened by some kind of riots, they reduced to 107 shillings. So for 107 shillings, I decided to always refuel for 450 shillings, and then I would have the same amount as I used to have with 178 shillings. Now, it hit me hard that this is the price which I'm paying for some war which is in some miles away, which even my country is not involved, but I am forced to pay the price of that war. So, for the fellow Americans, for those individuals who are from the United States of America, there's something which you really need to realize. One of the things which I've observed is this idea that I am one of those individuals who had this idea that in the United States, it's where you can realize most of your dreams. I do still believe in that. And if you move more especially to the or you do some of your research on the internet, more especially on YouTube, you will realize that the trending kind of topic today, which is concerning or related to the United States, it is somehow individuals saying that the American dream is to get out of the United States. Or one of the other issue which is one somehow trending is where individuals, more especially from the American context, and also the its younger brother who they are involved in starting the war against Iran, you realize that those individuals from the United States and the other country are somehow not treated fairly. Now, here you need to get me and have some kind of understanding what I'm trying to say. I understand that the United normal people, the common citizens, or the majority, they don't have any power when it comes probably to deciding the policies which their country kind of takes in overseas. Even if you have that kind of an idea that you can elect the president and they can decide to set out the policies which you as an individual, you as a citizen, you are likely going to support, I understand that's not the case most of the time. But something which I want you to understand is that if you are treated somehow in a condescending manner in any foreign country which you're likely going to go, then probably that's one of the reasons which you need to take into mind or which you need to consider is that there are individuals who are outside there who have nothing to do with the war which is going on between the United States and Israel against Iran, and they are paying the price of either the rising prices of, as I've said, fuel, and now it is going to be directly corresponding to the rising prices of food, transport, and many other things which, in one way or another, are related to the normal living standards of every human being. So, for those Americans who are outside there, I believe that should be somehow the thing which we need to take into consideration. But there's something which I also need to kind of reiterate is that I somehow despise those individuals who we can now refer as elites. And the reason why I despise those individuals is because this is the reality for most individuals. If you subtract 214 minus 178, you will find that's an increase of 20%. An increase of 20%, and that's a lot of amount. So when I observe your readers like Michael Rubio saying that Americans need to somehow appreciate that they are not directly impacted by the rising living costs due to fuel shortage, I can agree with him to some extent, but at the same time, I believe it's one of the dumb responses which an individual, whom especially claims to come from a civilized Western power, needs to make in a public environment. Anyway, I would like your thoughts in the comment section. Probably that's why maybe most individuals are not interested, more especially to get associated with the American brand. And how are you prepared to deal with that situation? Like, subscribe, share. See you on my next one.